Welcome to This Is Why I Don't Vote, a podcast, episode 2. Your new safe space, if you will. A forum to discuss sports, politics, social issues, religion. We're going to take it all very seriously, but not too seriously. What do we have on the slate for this week?
Act 1, Aliens and Myth.
Aliens aren't real, right? You know that. You're aware of that. There's absolutely no proof whatsoever that alien life in any way has ever been found on planet Earth. That alien life has ever touched down on planet Earth. That alien life has ever communicated in any way with anyone on planet Earth. After consulting the Google machine, it appears that in the United States, 1/3 of the population believes that alien spacecraft have visited or routinely, regularly visit the planet Earth. About 3/4, 75% of people in the United States believe that alien life exists on other planets. As support for these beliefs, these folks point to what? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing that they can point to objectively in order to support these beliefs. Aliens are nothing more than 21st century dragons. You take a poll of the number of Americans that believe the dragons exist, I don't think you'll find that it's anywhere close to 1/3 of the population. As a sad commentary on the state of humanity, it might be 1/4 of the population. I'd much rather it be closer to 1% of the population. I think the truth probably falls somewhere around 10%. If you told me that 10% of the population was too stupid to be trusted to chew bubblegum and walk without hurting themselves, I'd accept as much. So 10% or thereabouts believing that dragons exist, that seems appropriate. So how is it that people still believe in aliens and don't believe in dragons? In the Middle Ages, people blamed everything on the dragon. Livestock dying mysteriously? Dragon. Townsfolk traveling to peddle their wares, never returning? Dragon. Mongol hordes descending from the Eurasian steppe? We can't go anywhere. We can't flee for fear of the dragon. As the world grew up, as it woke up, well, the myth of the dragon was slain. Likewise, the myth of the alien will soon be slain. This alien nonsense has about 25 more years left in it. 25 years. After 25 years, no even moderately rational person will be able to claim that there's any alien life that's ever touched this planet, and moreover, the likelihood that alien life exists anywhere in the universe. Why 25 years? Why? Because I'm a generous man. Because I believe in you as a people, as a species. In 25 years, I think it's reasonable to say that 90% of the human beings on this planet will have mobile phones. They will have access to a mobile phone on their person at all times. Even the most basic model of those mobile phones will have the capacity to record video and audio. What do we know of the human species when given a device that can record both audio and video? Well, that simple creature is going to record every goddamn thing that's ever happened to them or anyone they've ever known, or anything that's happened in the vicinity that they're in, without discrimination. What else can we expect to occur over the course of the next 25 years? 20 years ago, social media outlets were actually primitive marketplaces. Not as many users, not as much reach. There is no telling what kind of advancements will be made in technology and will be made in these social media platforms over the course of the next 25 years. But looking at it from the prism of today, this is the form by which people communicate. Who calls anyone anymore? Who really emails anyone anymore? People post online via the social media outlet, and even when they want to communicate exclusively with another user, they will direct message that user utilizing the social media platform. The social media platform is then the outlet by which people communicate. Did you have a meal? Did you consume some food, thereby sustaining your life force? Well, by all means, take a photograph of it and post it. Did you procreate? Did in the course of that procreation, your spawn begin to grow, develop? By all means, post it online. Have you gone from point A to point B? You are the 21st century Magellan. Amazing. Please, photograph it all, video it all, and post it online. Every pile of slop you've consumed, every dumbass thing that your children have done, every place you've gone to drink terrible alcoholic beverages and buy kitschy crap like magnets for your refrigerator to memorialize the trip, it's all been posted online, hasn't it? Let's look at a modern event. Cold in Texas, isn't it? Not just cold. It's blizzard cold. It's state of emergency cold. The junior senator from the state of Texas, Ted Cruz, a real person, is in the airport, a real place, going on a vacation to Cancun, a real destination. What happens? The man is immediately identified by other passengers, real people, in the airport, a real place. And what do? They take photos. They take video. And what do they do with these photos? With this video? They post it online. Ted Cruz is waiting for an upgrade on the flight to Cancun. Another passenger takes a photograph of the upgrade list that's posted by the gate, and before you know it, that photograph is online. There is no doubt that Cruz was in the airport. There is no doubt that Cruz was flying to Cancun in the middle of a national emergency in his home state. The internet's proved as much. There's practically nothing that can occur in the normal course of anyone's life that then cannot also be published on social media. The internets have proven as much. And yet somehow, you still get these jackasses who come out of the woodwork stating that they've seen an alien. They saw an alien spacecraft. They've been contacted by alien life. And what do we have by way of objective evidence to prove as much? Their story. Their personal testimonial that these events actually occurred, that they're true. How effing gullible are you? How gullible are you? There aren't any two things that any person does in their life that they aren't willing to video or photograph and then post online. And you want me to believe that these same people were contacted by alien life, didn't have a chance to video it, didn't have a chance to take a photograph. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. Your dog does some dumbass thing that you think is so cute. Camera ready. Social media post ready. Look at me at the club. Look at me clubbing. Out there socializing. Camera ready. Social media post ready. Oh my God, I've been contacted by alien life. And you won't believe it, I didn't have my phone with me. I wasn't camera ready. I wasn't social media post ready. Bullshit. Bullshit. You've recorded and posted every other dumbass thing that you've ever done. But in the one thing that is actually significant, that would advance science, that it would advance human knowledge and understanding, that would demonstrate with objective proof that we aren't alone in the universe, you just didn't have the phone ready. Bullshit. 25 years, jerk-offs. You've got 25 years. Someone's going to have to record an alien. Someone's going to have to record an encounter. Otherwise, those beloved aliens, that myth that you've put all of that emotional energy into, it's going the way of the dragon. And frankly, I think that's a good thing. I'm happy about that. This obsession with aliens is a defeatist mentality. That's right. It is a defeatist mentality that is used to diminish not only personal human capacity, but the capacity of human beings as a collective, as a civilization. There is a difference between having a strong belief in something and simply having wishful thinking. Aliens are simply wishful thinking. The fundamental ethos of belief in aliens is ignorant. It stems from a place of ignorance. Now that works well on cable news networks, but we should leave it there. Speaking of ignorance in television, before we leave the topic of aliens, we have to talk about these television shows. You know the ones I'm talking about. We're going to go and find an alien. We're going to go find evidence of alien life. And moreover, these other television shows, we're going to find Bigfoot. We're searching for ghosts. There's treasure afoot. Just keep digging. How long can these gullible jackasses watch these television shows? Let me spoil them all for you right now. They don't find anything. OJ is going to find the real killers before anyone finds evidence of an alien, a ghost, Bigfoot, or buried treasure. No evidence of alien life. Nope, none. No evidence of any Bigfoot. Nope. He's not out there because he doesn't exist. Oh my God, is this house haunted? No, dimwit, it's not haunted. You want to know why? Because there's no such thing as ghosts. Maybe if we keep digging, we'll find that treasure. Maybe if you keep digging, you'll find yourself in a big goddamn hole. These programs have ruined the History Channel. The History Channel, a channel by its very name, founded on televising shows about history. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Now they show a bunch of dumbasses chasing after their tails and have the highest ratings that they've ever had. Soak it up. Enjoy it. You've got 25 more years. 25 more years before aliens go the way of the dragon. I don't want your stories. I don't want your beliefs. I'm inundated by your mundane posts on social media about what you've eaten, tricks your cat can do, or whatever dumbass dance is the current fad. You want to post something significant? Give me an alien or shut the F up.
Act 2 Sports.
The Tennessee basketball team is collectively schizophrenic. A Donald Trump press conference is more predictable than the University of Tennessee basketball team. I mean, I've never seen a team miss so many layups, miss so many open baskets. I understand there's a lot of people without power in Texas, and that's a tragedy. But I've got a solution. Go to James Naismith's grave and hook up a couple of power cables. Because that man's grave is spinning at about 100,000 revolutions a minute at watching Tennessee's offense try to put round ball in round hole. All the worse, they shit the bed against a Kentucky team at home that can't tell its left from its right when it takes the basketball court. The fan in me wants to believe that they could be like Arizona in 1997, going into the NCAA tournament as a higher seed, winning it all. Watching that abomination against Kentucky this weekend, they look more like Virginia as a number 1 seed, losing to UMBC. I know I shouldn't care so much, but damn it, I do.
Act 3 Politics.
In his final days as president, Donald Trump granted a number of pardons. These pardons stirred up a lot of controversy, a political Pandora's box. And for the purposes of this segment, I'd like to keep the temperature as politically mild as possible. And I don't want to discuss all of them, but I do want to discuss one. That being the pardon of Matthew Stafford from Detroit. Over the years, I've wrestled with Stafford's guilt or innocence. Surely, his crimes could not have been that grave, and even if they were they worthy of going to Detroit? Then again, the man did quarterback the University of Georgia football team. He's not entirely innocent. Presidential pardons are always a controversial issue. But I don't think anyone truly regrets Donald Trump pardoning Matthew Stafford. And Stafford, to his credit, handled the entire situation with grace and humility. His quotes in the aftermath of the pardon were quite telling. To be honest, I probably started thinking about it last year, Stafford said. It was one of those things where, we were hoping that, golly, let's go. I hope this thing takes off and Trump grants the pardon. But if he doesn't, you just knew what was going to happen. They were going to tear down this prison and try to rebuild it. I didn't want to be a part of that. Stafford went on to say, anytime you switch prison wardens and watch them bring in their own people, that's going to take time. And frankly, I didn't feel like I was the appropriate person to do that time. So Stafford gets to head off into the sunset, go out west, the way of Lewis and Clark, Davy Crockett, the Donner family. He can now live his life in peace. And in these tumultuous times, can't we come together behind a political leader and celebrate a pardon for someone that, although they may be guilty, was truly not worthy of the punishment, of the sentence given them by the powers that be. Godspeed, Matthew Stafford. Godspeed. And may no other innocent man be sentenced to such arduous time in Detroit.
Act 4 Listener Feedback.
And electronic mail from a listener concerning the Gina Carano piece. First, thank you for listening to the entire podcast. The Gina Carano piece was at the end, so you were able to make it through 30 minutes. Thank you. Second, I welcome any feedback on any of the comments made during the podcast, as although, naturally, I think I'm a genius, I know I'm not always right in any of my hot takes on topics of the day. I am fully prepared to be told how misinformed I am, and I fully welcome the opportunity to be proven wrong. Now to the email, which I will read in part. Gina Carano works for a company called Disney. That employer is not known for their cutting-edge, risk-taking content that is always pushing the edge of human tolerance. They have a product that is specifically designed entirely around the concept of playing it safe. It's the most sanitized, least controversial content ever made. Gina Carano was the face of something that Disney paid about $4 billion for, the Star Wars platform. They were going to make a spin-off show just for her based on her character. Her own franchise, a multi-million-dollar investment just for her own show. Gina Carano did the impossible. She went from professional athlete to leading actress for a budding Star Wars franchise. It's the very top of the field in terms of compensation. The opportunity is probably in the tens of millions of dollars. It's generational wealth. But she had things to say, and she wouldn't be muzzled, and that's fine. While she's free to say what she wants, companies have the right to protect their assets. The number one thing I tell anyone that works for me, never put me in a position where I have to explain your behavior. Once the words are out there, they can be interpreted a million different ways. And now someone at Disney has to explain why they have to deal with Gina Carano's comments again. It's not the first time. I don't think the mob did this. The mob is real and they love to give people a smack. But Gina Carano did this to herself. She gambled with Disney's money and she lost big time. The market dictates her value now. She may make an original movie for the 65 plus crowd. I'm sure the reach will be enormous. Meanwhile, Disney has 90 million subscribers and growing, and she just handed someone else her lunch for a lifetime. Signed, Enrique from Pensacola, Florida. Thank you for the email. Please keep them coming. First impression, love the 65 plus crowd line. That was pretty funny. And normally, I would agree with this sentiment. I agree that while working for a company, you are a personal representative of their product, of their brand. And the more negative attention that you bring upon yourself, you're certainly going to bring upon that company. So someone working for a large insurance company, a large bank, making a number of different controversial posts on social media could certainly jeopardize their tenure with the company. Their social media profile may cost them their job. I also agree with the notion that Disney plays it safe. Frankly, I don't think politics or religion or social issues plays any role in any decision that Disney makes. Disney is a corporation. Corporations care about money. Disney cares about money. Anyone that's ever been to a Disney park knows this. They want your money. That's what the entire endeavor is designed to do, to separate you from your money. So this backlash accusing Disney of being partisan or playing politics, I think is completely misplaced. Again, Disney cares about money. In any endeavor, Disney is looking at the bottom line. So if Disney makes a move, it's because they think it's either going to be profitable or it is going to impact their profits. In the Gina Carano situation, I believe they thought it was going to impact their profits. So they fired her. But while agreeing with the overall premise of the email and appreciating the tidbit of humor that was included, I believe this situation is unique for two reasons. The first is the industry and the actual role. Actors and athletes occupy a unique position within companies as far as being quote-unquote employees or representatives. Both actors and athletes are not paid simply for services. They are also paid for their likeness. The media presence of both actors and athletes is part of their appeal, is part of their marketability, and therefore drives revenue. It drives the revenue that individual can earn. It drives the revenue of the organizations that employ that individual. So sports franchises and leagues and production studios and film studios want their actors and actresses, their athletes, to go out and promote. Part of that promotion is having a social media presence. In the 21st century, frankly, I think it's difficult to maintain a high-profile social media presence being completely sanitized. All of that is a long-winded way of saying that a corporation has to take the social media presence of actors and actresses working on behalf of the company as a whole. Think about it. For years, your media presence was created by corporations like Disney, right? Disney cast you in the movie. being cast in the movie, being cast in the television show, it increased your media presence. You then became a part of the Disney promotional machine. And it was like that for every other studio. Warner Brothers, Paramount, MGM, Sony. You get cast in the film, you get cast in the television show, the promotional machine goes to work, your media presence is then increased and validated. But now, actors and actresses, athletes, are bringing their own social media presence to the studio, to the production company, to the sports franchise, to the league. The corporate entities were behind the curve on social media. It was the individuals that took advantage of the opportunity to increase their presence, to increase their visibility, and corporations followed suit. It seems then contradictory that a corporation would demand that any of its actors and actresses, that any of its athletes continue to promote their product, their service, their brand through that individual social media platform, and then say, keep it completely sanitized, and by the way, think what we think, say what we say, for risk of having your contract terminated with our organization. These corporations didn't turn on their marketing or promotion machine to increase the visibility of the individual social media account. The individual did it themselves. If a corporation is going to buy that social media presence, they've got to take the good with the perceived bad. It's like anything else in a capitalist marketplace. If you want to sanitize that individual social media profile, pay for it. Buy it. Otherwise, you have to take the good with, again, the perceived bad. The second reason I think this situation is unique is that it does present a double standard. In becoming more familiar with this story, many pundits have noted that Disney has not taken to task other actors and actresses that have made controversial social media posts. Notably, Pedro Pascal has made a number of controversial social media posts, depending on what side of the political spectrum you fall. As I said earlier, I don't care about Gina Carano's politics, and I don't really have any interest in her social media posts. Likewise, I don't care about Pedro Pascal's politics, and I don't have any interest in his social media posts. But if one party can make what are controversial social media posts that are socially acceptable according to the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter mobs, and yet another party does ostensibly the same thing and draws the ire of the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter mob, why is it then that Disney takes action against only one of them? As I just stated, Disney doesn't have a conscience. Disney is not socially aware. They aren't looking to promote truth or justice. They don't want to do the right thing. Any action taken by Disney is about money. So by way of the evidence, it appears that the action that they took was in response to a perception that the brand was going to suffer because of the social media posts of Gina Carano, whereas the brand wouldn't suffer by social media posts from other actors and actresses. I don't think anyone on the Twitter mob, I don't think anyone on the Facebook or Instagram mobs truly represent the breadth of the consumers of Disney products, of Disney services. But the actions taken against Gina Carano appear to be as a direct result of the so-called outrage presented on social media outlets. That, I think, is wrong. And one final point, very quickly, about the circumstances surrounding the dismissal. Again, as I became more familiar with the story, as I've read more about it, it appears that there were principals at Disney that were looking to fire Gina Carano well before the post that she made that ended up, quote unquote, warranting her dismissal. I think this sets a nasty precedent, not only for people who are being marketed in their social likeness, athletes, actors and actresses, but for the rest of us. If your employer can misconstrue things that you say on social media as a pretense to fire you, it's going to stifle all speech in all capacities. Again, what Gina Carano said on social media, in my mind, was somewhat innocuous. It certainly didn't warrant being fired. If we're going to allow an employer the liberty of interpreting anything that you say on social media in any way that they deem fit, you'll stop talking. You won't continue the dialogue, and frankly, this country cannot operate as a democratic society, as a democratic government, without social dialogue. One of the reasons I'm running my mouth on this podcast in the first place is because the dialogue is now so partisan, is now so politically charged, that there can't be a place for humor, for satire in any of it. Well, I'm going to create that space, no matter how small, no matter how limited a part of the internet it is. I am going to speak out for Gina Carano, even though I don't care about her politics or what she said, in the hopes that someday someone will be willing to speak out for me. This is why I don't vote. A podcast.